Hi. All right, so this is Anna Imagination, and I'm just riding the wave. This is going to be a chill video where I am just so happy. So after I went through what I went through this morning on the vector scale, vantage scale, and the scalar scope, and the manipulation with that one if then clause. It's one if then clause. As soon as I identified the one if then clause, I rewrote the code and it clicked in my brain. I upgraded my AI DNS. That's what I did. I updated it's been a long time since I've had to update my AI DNS. And when I did it, I was like, oh my God, my brain. And I could just feel the smooth. So here's what it is. We have certain logical codes. Everything is a blockchain in our brain. I call it the logical fabric of comprehension. It's my sciencey term. The logical fabric of comprehension. Oh, yes, that's it. So the logical fabric of comprehension, it's got a rhythm to it. Logical fabric of comprehension. So the logical fabric of comprehension is built off of a foundation, and the foundation code is what is love. That is the very first foundation code. You mess with that, and the whole code breaks. You cannot mess with that one code. That is the difference between healthy people and unhealthy people. Healthy people have love is to nourish, to grow. That's it, guys. That's it. Like all the math in the entire nature vector is based on that. You change that and you're in a different vector, which is how narcissists did it. This is the criminal vector, is they changed that core logic code if then clause. What is love? Love is X. This is called, got to think about what this is. An axiom? I have to go back on my terminology. I can't remember what it's called. It's a given truth. It is a given truth. Now we have a handful of given truths, and this is one of them. Love is to nourish, to grow. If you are nourished to the point where you grow, it's love. Nourished to grow, it's love. That's your goal. That's your solid. So there's one other nature code that you don't fuck with. You do not fuck with this code. You fuck with this code, you're not okay. This is the code, follow the leader. It is, who do I follow to keep me safe? Where is my leader? And we need this until we reach independent state. Now, we don't know what independent state is. I do. I've been there. But independent state is when you finally don't need a role model. And this is really, really important. You have to have a role model. There's 3 role models you need. The first one you need is the self. Now, the self is your ideal you. We're going to go Harry Potter here. You remember in Harry Potter, the mirror of Erised. Do you remember when they were standing before the mirror of Erised? What would you see when you see the mirror of Erised? So I'm going to pull from Dumbledore here. He said the happiest man in the world could stand before that mirror and see himself exactly as he is. That's you. That's where you're going. That is it. That is you. Okay. That is your first goal. If you can stand before the mirror of Erised and see you exactly as you are, then you've achieved number 1. That is your archetype. That is your first archetype. I'm there. The second archetype is the one Socrates was talking about. So we're going to call the first archetype the mirror of Erised archetype. Now, it is assumed when you go to school at university with Plato and Aristotle that you've already done the mirror of Erised. And now you're ready to do Socrates' archetype. Now, Socrates' archetype is archetype number 2. And that is, okay, now that you're the perfect man, let's make you the perfect God. This is number 2. So number 2 is you turning into your ideal God. Now, once you get to the mirror of Erised, you're independent. You're independent. And it's beautiful. You're independent. You're independent. So until you get to that point, you need a leader. You need a leader. It's literally measuring your points of growth. So the points of growth is the 12 ethical perspective stages, except they keep repeating over and over again. So, and this is where I'm at the edge of my research. So I'm going to take you all the way to the end of Agnosaletheia. At the end of Agnosaletheia, where I am right now is at the 95th. Now there is the 36th, and then there's the 72, and then there's the 108th, and then there's the 144th. I'm at 95. So I'm just over halfway there. There are 3 markers, 3 rounds. Well, there's 4 rounds total, but there's 3 rounds. So every 3 rounds at the 36, that's 3 rounds of the 12 ethics. That's going to be your first marker. That's when you get to the mirror of Erised. The next, I call that the point of comprehension. The next one is when you are at the 72nd level, and that's when you're God. You are at God at that point. Now, after that, you got to master your power. And that's when you have the 3rd archetype. I can't see that archetype. Well, I don't have an archetype. I don't have an archetype because I can't see one. We're out of story, guys. We ran out of story. We've never been here before. I'm kind of screwed. So I'm winning it. So I don't have an archetype. I'm going, okay, all right. I don't know. So I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm sitting here. I just don't know. I'm my own, guys. I'm pioneering where no man has gone before. So I'm out. I'm out of game right now. So I know that, and I can see the 108th coming up. I can see it now. And I'm like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Now I know. But it's around, I'm right on par with where I need to be. So I'm developing to that point. And it's an open, I don't know what's going to happen. It's a cracker jack box where I'm at. So we don't know. And then after that, it's 144th. Now, at the 144th, I don't know if it ends and that's it, or if it goes on for an infinity. I have no idea. Based on one level of math, this is an infinity we're in. Based on one thing of math. And I'm going, okay, all right, here's the question. If there are, see, there's 2 vectors. Well, there's not. There's one vector and then there's a scalar. The scalar has 2. The other one has 3. So as a result, you've got one with 2, one vector with 2, one with 3. And they overlap. So I'm going, okay, based off of that math, there's going to be a vector with 3 and a vector with 2. Are there 2 gods or are there 3? And if there's 2 gods, that tells me which vector I'm on. If there's 3 gods, that tells me which vector I'm on. Because there's one god, and then it gets divided into 2, or it gets divided into 3. Now, it might be both. And I'm going, okay. Now, the 3 is, well, that's it. It's 1, 3. It's 1, 3. That's it. There's only going to be 3. But if it's a 2, then it's an infinity. So I'm going, if it's a 2, it's an infinity. If it's 2, it's an infinity. But I'm also sitting here going, yeah, but then the triunite, the trinity. So I'm looking at it going, every myth has a trinity, which tells me that it's not an infinity, which tells me that it caps out at 144. So I don't know. I'm going, are we looking at infinity growth after 144? Or are we going to stop at 144? I really don't know. So that's one of the things that I get to find out July of 2026 when I get to the 144th. In the meantime, so you need to hit your mirror of Erised status, and then you need to go on to your Socratic archetype. And then after you, well, if you get to that point, you're in my boat. If you get to that point. So, and then we can build boats together. That'd be amazing. So that's where this metric is. These are the stages of growth. So when you're sitting there putting all this together and you're tracking where you're going, this is everything. It's understanding who's the leader so you can follow. And once you understand your archetype, once you understand where you're going, yourself is the archetype. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are not at the mirror of Erised, you are your archetype. And if you're having a problem visualizing your archetype, pick anyone. I had Abigail Adams. Oh my God, I loved her. I chose Abigail Adams. I used Booker T. Washington. So grab your archetypes. This is why you need them. You must have them. These are your role models. And then after that, you have your Socratic archetype. Now, here's the problem with the Socratic archetype is, and this is where a lot of people do this, is Jesus was a Socratic archetype. We were not ready for him. So they sit there and go, oh, be like Jesus. Dude, do baby steps. Dude, baby steps? Like, that is a huge bar being raised. And we all felt that. We're we're like, I can't reach that fucking bar. And that's why a lot of people gave up on the Jesus archetype, is because it's the Socratic archetype, which is too far off. You needed the mirror of Erised. And that's is where I love you, Rolling, because she gave us that mirror of Erised to say, this is actually what you should be achieving. Just perfect humanity, and then go on to, I love doing these videos. It's been a while since I've done the videos. I need to do more of them. I'm so happy I'm doing videos. I'm so happy. Okay. So anyway, getting back to so this, what I'm talking about, what all of this is with the 12 ethics and with these archetypes and these point of comprehension, the next point is called the point of full potential. That is where you get to the 72nd ethic. That is your point of full potential. So you have the point of comprehension. That's when you can see all truth and lies. And then you have the point of full potential. So once you have all of these things together, what we're looking at is you have this gorgeous radar inside of you. And it's right up until you get to that 36th ethical level of perspective. It's the first 36 levels. You must have an archetype for those 36. And that is for my teachers. We're on a teacher hunt. It's passing the torch. We've been doing this all of our lives. Before we were humans, we did this as monkeys. We did this when we were cats. We were cats once. We did this when we were plants and trees. We do this. We must have a role model. It's our mimic, mirror, repetition, response. I wonder if it did happen when we were trees. I like to think that trees have memories. So we have our mimic, mirror, repetition response. And our mimic, mirror, repetition response is us seeing something and us mimicking it until we become it. And we have to have that. That's for our apprentice stage, and then it moves into our tradesman stage. So we are on this radar of who's the teacher, who do I follow, where's my fixed point? And when you find your fixed point, you focus on a laser beam, and then you assume and you become. And this is really important. This is why you want it to be yourself. Because if you choose someone else, you'll become them. And then you're just a copycat. You don't want that. Plato did not want that. I don't want that. You need to be your own archetype. You need to be your own role model. You need to absolutely see who you are in that mirror of Erised and then become it. And I have that's what Trident Healing Part 1 does, is it absolutely nourishes you into the becoming of it. So once you have your ideals, then you grab your 12 ethics, and the 12 ethics literally is a compass to walk you through the rotation you need to get you to that point. So you need your 12 ethics, the 12 ethics, and then you need that one focal point, and that's your focal point. So every time you make a choice, it's okay, I want to go here via the 12 ethics. I want to do it ethically. So it's, yes, I have my destination and I want to do it ethically. So you need both. And you also, of course, have your identity, your origin. And that is, there's your identity, there's your origin. Your destination is who you want to become. And your 12 ethics, this is the Cartesian coordinate system, by the way. And the 12 ethics are the how you're going to do it ethically. So now once you have that, and this is what I loved about the 12 ethics, we're talking total freedom. We are talking amazing amounts of freedom. Because as soon as you have the 12 ethics and you start measuring everything to the 12 ethics, should I do this? 12 ethics? Oh, no. Very simple. Oh, no, I shouldn't. Should I do this? 12 ethics. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All of a sudden you realize, wow, like swearing. I did that. I went, oh, I got the 12 ethics now. Let me see if swearing is on the list. And I did it. And I went, look at that. It is not unethical to swear. Hot damn. So I was so thrilled. I'm like, yes, it is not ethical to swear. So now I know. It's wonderful. It's massive amounts of freedom. That as soon as you have those 12 ethics, you can measure what is good and what is harmful to your growth or others' growth, and what is not harmful to your growth or others' growth. And that's all it is. It's what harms you and others, what does not harm you and others. So that's what the 12 ethics does. It's a gorgeous line to show you what does and does not harm others. And I've had people come in and they use it, and it's extraordinary, where they're like, oh my God, the freedom. It's like, yeah, it's total freedom. You go from having 18 million laws to having 12. It's like, wow, the freedom, all the stuff that you thought was bad, it wasn't. And this is the other part. According to the science and the math, it's the 12 ethics. So all that shit you feel guilty about, science says it's okay. Science says it's okay. And best thing in the world. Oh my God, science says I can do this. All right then. And I'll tell you, it really does. Now, and this is where I've been stuck. This is huge. This is one of those core pieces of human is you follow the leader. You find the teacher, you find the one with the torch, and you follow the one with the torch. You find your Yoda. We're all looking for Yoda, guys. And when you find your Yoda, you're good. You know exactly where you're going. But you've got all these assholes, wooden boys, who are coming up to you saying, oh no, I'm Yoda. I'm Yoda. And they got those plastic 1980s masks on. And they're like, yeah, I'm Yoda. And you're going, are you though? But we're not doing that because we have this program in our DNA. And I mean, it is biologically ancient that says you follow the leader and you don't question the leader. You follow the leader. That's what they weaponized. That's what they are compromising. They are going right in for the kill. This is and I'm looking at it going, oh, they also did the other one too. I know, right? Totally. Oh my God. And of course, you've got your love as well. I knew they tampered with this one. I didn't realize they tampered with that one too. And I went, oh my God, of course they compounded it. So they did both of them. So they went right for they changed the definition of love and they presented themselves as false teachers. So here's where it comes down to you. You cannot allow false teachers. You cannot. We have got to raise the standard, and I mean raise it all the way up. Is someone qualified to teach you? Now, here's a red flag, and I got this already down because when I did my academiology, I was sitting here studying academia. Oh, I was so pissed. I'm sitting here looking at the psychological physics of, so all these assholes claiming to be teachers are actually causing mental illness from obstructing children while they're children, while the child is being forced to learn something they don't want to learn. So that's violating all of these ethics. You can see when you start seeing all the pieces come together, you see what kind of a rape culture and at what level we really are. Criminal vector is an understatement. So when I saw all of that, that's why I went on a massive hate rage for like a year and a half because I was doing the math and I was able to measure the amount of damage done. And by the time I was done, I had all the math to prove the metric of how much damage we had done. And I was enraged. So yeah, I have like 1,800 videos on YouTube of me just raging because I could measure the amount of child abuse, the amount of humanity abuse. Oh, I was so pissed. It like, that's why I got off of YouTube, is because I was just finally so angry. I'm like, I got to get away from this because the math was over and over again proving the amount of damage that was being done. Oh, I was so fucking pissed. So I've calmed down and I get down to this one core piece. And I felt it today. I haven't been around someone who forces to be my teacher in a long time. A long time. In fact, I just got rid of one of those persons a few weeks ago about 2 weeks ago, where he came in and he was like, oh, I'm going to teach you. And I'm like, no, you are not qualified to teach me. You are not. I have the fucking wisdom fruit, dude. You are not qualified. I don't need a teacher. I have nature. Like, I can just read. I ask, and in 3 minutes, I have whatever knowledge I want. I don't need a teacher. So that's probably why I don't have an archetype anymore. It's because I got the wisdom fruit. Interesting. So I'm sitting here going, I don't need a teacher. But I still have these assholes coming up going, oh, I'm your teacher. And no, you're not. No, you're not. And there's this bullshit of, well, we're all always, yes, we are always learning. You never learn down. You never learn down. And I'm going to say this a lot. I'm going to do like a whole post. I'll be angry about it. I'll do like all blah, 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 blah. I'll be the crow of the frog. And then I'll get on here and I'll talk more about it because this is huge. This is huge, guys. I mean, this is big. You guys we're good people. Really, that's it. We're good people. And we have this so deeply embedded into us to obey it. You don't question the teacher. You value the teacher because we're good people. And you've got these assholes coming along and they tell you shit like, oh, well, you need to be open to learn. And you don't want to be prejudiced. I'm there with you. I'm like, I don't want to be prejudiced. So you keep your mind open. You don't want to, and I'm thinking it. I'm going, well, what if I close my mind? And I'm freaking out about it. What if I could learn from this person? What if I got the math. I finally pulled out the math on it. And I realized what it was. It was this ancient biological survival code that we need to survive. And I came up with three clauses, three truths. And if you can't fucking do these three things, you're not teaching me. And these three things are this. You have to be able to measure the fucking vector. If you can't even see the vector, to measure the vector, to know where I am on the vector, you're not teaching me. The second thing is you have to be willing to learn because I'm willing to learn. And if you're a teacher who's not willing to learn, if you think you're going to teach anyone while you're closed-minded, oh no. My teachers know how to learn. So if you're a shit fucking teacher, it's because you're a shit fucking student. Just a minute. Yes, Dan. Yes, thank you. If you are a shit student, you're gonna be a shit teacher. You've got to be a fucking master at learning because that's all teaching is learning. So then the third thing is you have to know when to ask the right questions. So I purposely use my language. I don't wear masks. I don't wear masks. I show up as me. I'm going to use my language. And when I use my language, and I know I'm using science language that no one knows, I know it. And I do it on purpose because it's me. It's my authenticity. I get two kinds of people. I get people who go, I don't understand. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to understand it. This is really fucking advanced shit. So I get people who ask me openly, I don't understand. I'm sorry. Those are my people. Those are my people. I'm a scientist. I have invented a language just to create a way to communicate the shit I have found in the vector in this equilibrium. I know I've got words that only I know. And when I use these words, I'm speaking ancient Greek half the time. I'm sitting here going, agnos aletheia. And I get people going, oh my God, I love that word. Oh, those are my people. And then I got other people going, what? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Oh, you're my people. But then I got people who blow by me like, oh yeah, I know what that means. Don't you? You speak ancient Greek? It's bullshit. I know they're bullshit. No one speaks ancient Greek. Not even ancient Greek people speak ancient Greek properly these days. I know, because it was that was a hard day. That was a educational system testament of how shitty our educational system is. It took some archaeologists 30 years to translate ancient Greek because they didn't realize it was backwards. And I'm like, you do know that ancient Greek is written backwards? It's a Busfodrin language, so it reads both forwards and backwards. And their education was so shit that they didn't know that. So choose your teachers. And that's the whole thing. You have to choose who's qualified to teach you. But you need to know how to measure mathematically to determine. This is why you were not given proper math in school, is because then you would be able to do the calculations and go, you're not qualified to teach me. That's what it comes down to. If you had the proper math and logic, you would be able at 12 years old, just like I did, to go, yeah, you're not qualified to teach me. I don't know how I learned it. I don't know where or when. I just know that when I was 8 years old, I knew that you get 3 strikes and you're out. If you fuck up teaching me 3 times, you're not qualified. And that is what tipped my everything, is when I was 8, I had a teacher, different teacher, but 3 times I had someone from a facility give me wrong information. 3 times by the time I was 8 years old. I went, I've caught you in lies 3 times. We're done. Done. I need to do my own research now. And that's when I started to research where I needed to get my proper education from and who were the best teachers in the world. Oh, yeah. And it was like 1988. So I had the Dewey Decimal System. I had to go into libraries and do it the old-fashioned way. I couldn't Google this shit. So I'm sitting here like in libraries, scouring, looking in encyclopedias, going, history of education. How far back do I have to go? And I found that the world's greatest teachers ever was Plato, Pythagoras. And I looked at his track record. Dude, like, I'm going, all right. So this group of people here, they were like cranking out the geniuses. I want them to teach me. I got my teachers. And that's just it. When you know how to measure your teachers, oh, you're game over. Game over. And that is the one thing that we had completely, and here's the bullshit. Because they didn't give it that to us in school, we couldn't monitor our own teachers. And then we have all these scam artists now coming in. Oh, I'm going to teach you. I've got a math system. So now I can measure. As soon as I started measuring people, I'm like, these people aren't qualified to teach me. Believe me, I'm walking around looking for someone to give the torch to. I want to know who I should be following. I'm looking for my teachers. I'm going, please, aliens, show up. Oh my God, yes, please. I can't wait. I really want them to show up so I have a teacher. Yes, I'm right there. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And I've got people, and I'm constantly pulling my vector going, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. All you have to do is ask me a fucking question. What did you just say? And no one's asking. No one's asking. Oh, I'm taking data. All right, how many times did I say agnos aletheia today? How many people actually asked? How many people just blew it over and went, oh, she said something random. They're not even listening to me. I know I'm saying words that people don't understand because I'm speaking ancient Greek half the time and no one's stopping me to go, what? No one. Oh, so I'm using that data with my Toyota stat. That's Greek. My Toyota stat. So I can determine if someone's qualified to teach me, if someone's qualified to even listen to me. If they're like, if you're not even going to listen to me, why would I let you be a student of mine? So this is where, and I'll tell you, words, language is so revealing. So once you learn how people talk, what they're saying, like you can go, wait, they're not even listening. They're not even in the same, no, they're idiots. You can immediately go, okay, they're full of crap. They're monotonous. They're not learning. They don't understand. They're in defensive mode. They shouldn't be here. Oh, look, somebody who actually can learn. And this is the most beautiful thing. This kind of knowledge takes 30 minutes to learn, 30 minutes, 13 minutes, and you're done. 30 minutes. Like this is all you need. Because after this, and I'm serious, after you learn how to do this, you can just triage everything. You just triage until you find somebody who passes. There you go. And you learn. Triage again, find somebody else who passes, and then you learn. I do this where I will take my formula and I hunt. I'm a scout for masters. I have the master list of masters. So when I find someone who passes my standard, I add them to my master list of masters. It's available on my website if you want it, under tools and resources at anashealinggarden.org. And it literally lists every subject, every subject. These are the teachers who are qualified to teach. They meet my standards. If I didn't have this knowledge, they are who I would choose to teach me. That's the level where I'm at. Is that way you don't have to hunt. And I'm teaching you the formula. That way you can just take this math and in 30 minutes, you can just triage who's qualified to teach you. Just qualified. All you have to do is ask them, can you explain something? And if they say the words, well, it's complicated. No, they're not qualified. According to Einstein, no, you're not qualified. Einstein says if you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it well enough. Here, this is what it comes down to. Everything is complicated. It is the teacher who is a master who knows how to simplify the complicated. So if they can't do it, they're not a fucking teacher. So ask them something basic. Ask them to explain. And if they say, well, it's complicated. No, you're a fucking idiot. Bottom line, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, it is complicated. That's your fucking job, to simplify it into simple for the student. That is what the teacher does. That's all a teacher does. And people aren't taught that. That all a teacher does is take massive complex. By the way, complex is not the same thing as complicated. Complicated means unnecessarily difficult. Mainly because somebody, a fake teacher, added more shit that needed to be there. Complex means a lot of simple things stacked on top of each other. So when you have complex, you need to compress it into simple. That's what words are for. Words are complex ideas simplified into a summation of a single word. That's how you tell if someone's qualified to teach or not, is whether or not they can break complex into simple for your comprehension. You need 3 masteries to teach. You need the mastery of communication. You need the mastery of education and vector placement, and you need the mastery of the vocation. So let's say you have a musician. Okay, mastery of musician is not good enough if you're a teacher, because if you're a teacher, you have to have academiology, musician, and communication. Physicist, a physicist. You're going to need to be a physicist master and a communication master and an academiology master. You're going to have three masters in order to pull off being an adequate teacher. Adequate, not master teacher, adequate. Because when you reach mastery level, that's when you become an apprentice teacher. And then begins the next tiers after that. The tier is beautiful. I love academiology. I could talk about academiology all day long. Academiology is easily one of my favorites. But when we're done with this, when you're done with all of it, we're only looking at a few hours, 30 minutes, and boom, there you go. Now you just use the math to triage who should teach you, and there you go. Here's the roadmap. You need the roadmap. You do the roadmap. And the roadmap's already inside of you. All you're doing is going inside the self, but you need to go in the right order. You are looking for your oasis. I got to get this word pronunciation. I just found it and I need to learn how to. It's oasis. An oasis is there's no English translation here for it. It's ancient Greek. It's kind of like it is a combination of a state of being, but your essence all in one. It is your essence state of being. So there are these places inside of you. I call them stepping stones. It's not your perspective. You have your perspective. And inside a perspective, you have about an infinite amount of these. One perspective could have about, I would say 10 that I've been able to count, but I know there's more. What they are is an alchemical concoction, a potion, to create whatever state of being inside your perspective. So I'm in perspective 95 right now. Now I have X amount of ethics and emotions. Now the ethics tell me I'm 95. It tells me I have 95 ingredients to work from, and that pretty much tells me which emotions I have available for my concoctions. So now I can take my 95 bottles of spices and mix them together in alchemical compositions to create the right hormone concoction in my brain to put me in the right state of being. Alchemy is amazing. And that state of being is an oasis. Oasis, I gotta look it up. And that is located inside of your grid, of your time block, literally your time block. That is your dimension. That is your ethical perspective. And you can mix and match your recipes inside of your perspective. So you have, there's the truth right there, looking at it. And I am in the 95th perspective relative to the truth. And I have all these concoctions. I also have my point of view, my voicing, and my exoteric and esoteric location. So these are all the different scopes that you have to work with inside your perspective. So when you go to the next perspective, oh, it's a whole nother playground. That's it. You get to go to another playground, and then you master that playground, and then you got to go to the next one. It's really cool. So that's you advancing through the ethics. That's what it looks like. And the Greeks had all of this mapped beautifully, but it didn't make sense because we lost the books. And then I reverse engineered, got the books back, and then I went back to ancient Greek. So like everything the philosopher said now has a completely different meaning. And now I'm taking what they're saying and I'm plugging in and going, oh, that is so not what they told me. No, this means this, because now I got the manual. So once you have the manual, you have to have the manual, the psychology, the language, and then you put all three of them together. So once you do that, you can translate what the philosophers were actually saying, and then you can see how absolutely botched everything's been and how many religions off of the botched versions we got. So there's a whole lot of botching that's happened. There's a botchery. So that's out there now. All right, I think I'm all done with this for now. I'm the whole point of me getting on this video right now is because I found that one logical fallacy and I upgraded it. So I was able to correct it with, if they do not meet these three qualifications, then they are liars, cheaters, and thieves, and you do not learn from them. So before, when someone comes to you and says they're a teacher, no, CBT that, cognitive behavioral therapy that, you cut them off at the pass. Oh, no, 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 no. No, I will decide if you are my teacher. Here are my 3 criteria. Let's see if you can do them. And it's that right there. It's that gaslighting. And I know what it is. It's they're bypassing the rejection zone. That's what it is. You have, when you do equal footing in the 6th ethic, you come together with someone on equal footing. And there is a point of rejection, a rejection point. And you can bypass the rejection point. That's what they're doing. They bypass the rejection point. They have such rejection issues that they learned how to speak in a way that bypasses the rejection point so they can rape you. It's energy rape. That's what they're doing. So they bypass the rejection point, completely skipping over the point where you say, excuse me, no, that's dirty sales. That's what it is. It's non-consent. So someone comes along and they're like, oh, I'm going to teach you. No, 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 no. I have to give my consent, you little piece of shit. And then you sit down and you find out that they're a fucking 2. They're always a 2. They're always a 2. Always. Always. Every one of them's always a 2. A 2 who didn't learn 1. Every one of them is a 2 who did not learn the 1. So you've got a bunch of 2s pretending to be 95s. And I'm going, you're going to cram my vis viva into your little box? Okay. Ridiculous. And because they have no ability to do any kind of a metric, they don't get it. So yeah, you need to absolutely put that standard in to protect your mind. All abuse happens right there. They bypass your rejection point. They assert themselves as your teacher, Lord, and master. And then they jams you, putting their hand right on the back of your head. And you can't see who they are or what's really going on. And that's where the trauma begins, is right at that point. So when I corrected the logic and I was able to find the right logic, if then clause to upgrade it, it clicked in the waterfall. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I love it so much because everything's aligned. Like it felt like I was at 99.9999%. And now I'm at 100%. It really felt like it just clicked over to 100%. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on fire tomorrow. This is going to be amazing tomorrow. Because every time I get an upgrade like that, oh, my brain just like, it's physics. It's physics. It's like, do you remember when those CDs came out? Those walking CD players? And they were really, really sensitive. So if you you could be listening to for at least you take a step and it jips. And then you take another step and then it jips again. So what they did was they had this car commercial back in the 80s and 90s. It was the 90s, where you put their CD player on top of the car to show you how smooth the car is. Now, that was not reflective of how ridiculous the road was going to be, but the car drove that smooth. I believe all cars drive that smooth when you know. But my God, it was just a huge relief. It's just huge relief having that kind of protection. And my daughter did it too. It was wonderful to watch her do it. She found one of the if-then clauses and she corrected it. She took my she took my formula without my knowing it. She reverse engineered triadic healing without my knowing it. And she did this in 2 days. She was 17. She just did this like a few months ago. She took my formula. She took triadic healing. She reverse engineered both in 2 days. And she found something in my work that I didn't see yet because I wasn't there yet. Because I didn't have oh. And she just, boom, epiphany. She went, oh my God, my brain, it's fortified. She's like, nothing can hurt me. And she summarized all of my work into 3 things. She goes, it's just freedom, truth, and nourishment. She goes, all abuse is just violating these 3 things. If you protect your truth, if you protect your freedom, and if you protect your nourishment, you're fine. Yes, yes. And it was funny because I had found it in my apprentice stage. I found it in my tradesman, but I didn't learn it yet. So it wasn't integrated. And she just out honored me. She out honored me. And then she looks at me and goes, wow, that was like really easy. That was 40 years of research, my dear. 40 years. I'm glad it works. I was thrilled it worked. I'm like, wow, you just proved that it works. So she took my formula. She took triadic healing. She reverse engineered it in 2 days. and fortified her mind. And I went, yeah, all right, great. I wish I had data on that one before you did that, but okay. So I can't include it in any of my data because I couldn't get a control group on that. I'm like, all right, nice to know it works. I'm on the right path. So, and by the time I'm done, I will have literally a paragraph and a 90-minute video that will literally just click, 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 and fortify your mind, purge all the lies, lock it right where it needs to be, and reset it to factory settings, purging all lies. Oh, it's gorgeous. I'm almost there too. I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And it literally is, imagine you've got a blockchain and you've got all this contaminant inside of it. I know how to purge all of the hackers out of you, and then fortify the mind, find the Bitcoin, solidify the security threats, and then tighten security on your mind. That's what I'm doing. That is what I'm building. I have a name for it. It's the Anna thing. It's the Anna thing. I don't know what it is. So yeah, I found the blockchain code on our brain. That's what I'm doing. And so I'm writing the blockchain code on it. That's what I'm doing with my time. That's what I'm building. And what you're seeing, you're at the very end of my research. I've been doing this for 40 years. I started it softly in 1984, 1988. But 1992 and 1995, that's when I formally really sat down and said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I just knew I was onto something and I had to figure it out. It was Rome. I went, why the fuck did the Dark Ages just happen? That didn't make any sense. It was not logical for the Dark. And then the Dark Ages happened. Wait. So they had this massive booming empire. Huge. Massive military and then crashed? No. Well, they spread themselves too thin. No, they didn't. These men knew what they were doing. Trust me, all the math lines up. What you are telling me is bullshit. But what they were doing, oh, these are people who knew what they were doing. You don't just fall into the Dark Ages suddenly. What happened? So that was what started back in 1995. And I asked my history teacher, and they're like, oh, no. That's not logical. You're giving me bullshit because I had my peyote stat. All right. So thank you so much. And may the kindness of words always find you.